Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. I know a lot of people are on edge right now. We are awaiting the election results. Some people had a very long night last night. I get it. I know. But now it's time to wind down. And I just want to talk a little bit about the patient experience and what it's like to go to a dispensary, and more important, what it is like to be at Mary & Main. So I'm excited today to bring on one of my favorite people and someone who's been with us since the very beginning. One of our managers at Mary & Main, Justin. Justin is, if you've been to Mary & Main, you've probably met Justin before. He's a big ball of energy, so knowledgeable. He's, like I said, he's been with us since the very beginning, since we even started the very beginning, like even when we were doing our grand openings and all that stuff, he's been there. So he holds a very special place in my heart. I want to bring him up on the screen with me. Hey, Justin.
Hi.
Hey, and you're reporting live from Mary & Main right now, aren't you?
I sure am.
Yeah. How was it today? Did you see a difference? Because, the election, I noticed a little spike, for Tuesday, we had a lot of people talking about the election and stuff.
Absolutely. And people have definitely been stressed about the whole process. And of course, cannabis is one of the best places to run to for stress. So yeah, we have seen an uptick in our patients.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, okay, we'll talk a little bit about anxiety and how cannabis can help with anxiety. But first, I just want to kind of start with, this is for someone who has never been to a dispensary before, or maybe you just got your medical card, or maybe someone who's interested in getting their medical card and not really sure, like, what is it going to be like? Or, is it going to feel like is a back alley transaction? And I'm like, exchanging my money and then running out, or I don't want anyone to see me. Right. And we can't even see you with your mask and stuff on anyway. So, but, people have a lot of questions and they don't really know, what to expect. So let's debunk some of those feelings. Let's get rid of some of the myths that people have around it. And let's really break down the patient experience. So you're the best person to do that. You're probably the most patient-facing person at the store. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Because Dexter, the general manager, he's doing a lot of other stuff. So you're the one on the floor all the time, doing all that stuff, talking to the patients. You've known them the longest. Explain to me, when you first come to Mary & Main the first time, what is that like? What happens first, and what's that experience like?
Well, typically, if you're a new patient, what would happen is we would welcome you to our store. And what we'd ask you for is your driver's license to show that you're a resident of the state of Maryland, as well as your certification from the state, which has been activated by one of the doctors who are registered with the state. The process isn't difficult. It does take a while from start to finish, about 45 days. But once you have that patient number and the doctor sees you, you can begin to shop immediately. You don't have to wait for the physical card in the mail. The state has been very nice about that in regards to the COVID situation. So as long as you have the recommendation from your doctor, the paper, you can start to shop immediately. So the check-in process is easy enough. The first time you fill out your intake paperwork, your basic info, a little bit about your medical history, as well as your attestation form, which pretty much tells you the do's and don'ts of your consumption of your medicine.
Right.
Sign off on that, and then you meet with a dispensary agent or bud tender like me. We discuss your ailments or what your goals are with using cannabis, and we find the right products for you.
Awesome. So the doctor that you go to, I think this is a big misconception for a lot of people. The doctor that gives you the recommendation, so it's not even not necessarily, they are not giving you a prescription. They're giving you a recommendation that medical cannabis can be helpful for your ailments. They are not telling you what products you should use most of the time.
Yeah, they're pretty much there to facilitate the connection between you're getting the medical card and you being able to have access to cannabis.
Right.
You don't get any product recommendation until you actually come to the dispensary.
Okay. So the experience agent or bud tender that you're working with at Marion Maine is going to go through, they'll ask you, like you said, what are your goals or what ailments are you experiencing? And, you're going to recommend products based off of that conversation.
Correct. Yep.
Right. So what are some common ailments that people have, and maybe talk about a few products that could potentially alleviate those ailments or what you would normally recommend? All of that being said, after that, we need to talk a little bit about dosage and how cannabis works within, people's individual bodies and all of that. But I'd like to talk about kind of common ailments or common goals of patients that come into the store, and what products that you recommend.
Okay, so the most common ailment that I see is chronic pain.
Yes.
And generally people will come in and they'll say, I have chronic pain. And we really have to dive in a little bit deeper into that to figure out, where is the pain coming from? What is the source of it? Have you had it all your life? Did you have a car accident? Because it makes a difference in how you use the medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's depression, anxiety, there are cancer patients, HIV patients, multiple sclerosis, high blood pressure, diabetes. And there are products that are actually effective for most of the ailments, or at least offer relief of some of the symptoms.
Right.
So yeah, we can cover quite an array of ailments because your body is actually set up to receive the medicine from cannabis. We have receptors in our body, and we create our own cannabinoids. I don't want to get too scientific for the newbies, but we create our own cannabinoids in the body. And then when we are sick or not at our homeostasis, that's
Right.
when our body stops creating those cannabinoids, so we can rely on cannabis to supplement those cannabinoids that we typically make on our own. So it's pretty normal to be using cannabis. It's a great healthy alternative to some of the pharmaceutical medicines.
Yeah. And I think the way that you just explained that is such a perfect way. This is, kind of a little off subject, but it's a really perfect way to alleviate the stigma, to
Yep.
explain cannabis in that way. And I think that a lot of people should take note of that. And, when you're trying to introduce cannabis to your family or friends, and it may not be something that's going well and friendly, taking a scientific or medicinal approach to it, and maybe giving that scientific explanation and then giving a real life example of somebody. Because I find that a lot of times when you can put a real story, that there's a real person, and then better yet, if they love that person, if it's someone close to them, I think a lot of times then you can really believe it and see the power of the medicinal side of cannabis and what it can do. And also the fact that we haven't even unlocked all the possibilities of what cannabis really can do. We haven't really studied the plant yet. And we haven't done that because it's a Schedule I controlled substance.
Yep.
Which is, at the end of the day, it's federally illegal still to do what we do every day. How do you feel about that as an employee? How do you feel about the fact that what you do is federally illegal?
I feel that it is a shame that it is federally illegal, because there are so many people who can benefit from it. But not only that, it creates a negative stigma. It creates a fear that's unnecessary, and it pushes people away. There are a lot of people who could benefit from it who are afraid of the high effect because they don't know what to expect. There's anxiety around that, and there is a sense of you having to look over your shoulder when you're picking up your medicine for the first time until it becomes more normal for you.
Yeah.
But it's a shame. I like working in this industry though, because I do see progress, and I know that this is temporary. The Schedule I illegality of the medicine. that'll change soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it'll make it so that our industry is somewhat more normal. I think that the industry is unique in itself, which never will make it normal, but being able to do certain things and just be able to sleep at night knowing that something crazy couldn't happen and the DEA decide to reenact itself and prosecute cannabis businesses because they're no longer really prosecuting cannabis at the moment right now. So yeah, I think that that's really important. So last night, 5 different states actually voted on their ballot initiatives to legalize cannabis. 4 recreationally, 1 medicinally. And then Oregon, so that was, let me see if I can get off the top of my head. It was South Dakota, which did both medicinal and recreational at the same time. Montana, which was just rec. New Jersey, recreational, so close to home. First mid-Atlantic state to go rec. I think it's going to put pressure on everybody else. New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Connecticut. So yeah, I think you'll see that. Where else? Mississippi, legalized for medicinal use. Awesome. And then did I say Montana? I don't think I said Montana.
No.
But. Okay, Montana is the last one for rec. So yeah, so we have, there's going to be a lot more opportunities to get into the industry in those states in the next few years. So that's really cool. We'll probably see some MSOs expand into those states. Also cool. They're just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we'll get to ride that wave as well. Do you find that patients, that the actual business side of the industry, do you think that that's important for patients to understand at all? Do you feel like patients do understand the business side? And do you feel like they understand kind of, I don't want to say the privilege that it is to even have access to cannabis, but we're very, very fortunate that we have the type of program we have in Maryland, that people have such access, because Illinois had cannabis. Illinois is bigger than Maryland. And they had medical cannabis for years and had only about 50 or 60,000 patients in their program by the time they went rec. We have over 100,000 patients, and we've only been active for about 2 years.
Yeah.
So how do you think patients really receive that?
I think that it is important. Some aspects are important to know. For instance, where does your cannabis come from? Yeah. In Maryland, because it's federally illegal, cannabis cannot cross state lines. So all of our growers are in the state of Maryland.
Yes.
That's important for patients to know. So if you're looking for a strain that may be in DC or on the West Coast, you probably won't find it because we can't traffic it to Maryland.
Right.
In a nutshell. No. So that does speak to some of the products that you may be looking for on a regular basis. If you find a product that works for you and all of a sudden it disappears off of a shelf and you can't find it, that's because there is a growing time and process that a plant must go through, or even as something as simple as the plant varying in its potency. There are some back end stuff that I think are important for patients to know, so that they are patient with with the business as well. Another thing is understanding why this is typically a cash only system, because it's federally illegal. There are not a lot of banks that are backing us. Your insurance is not going to cover your medicine because of it. They're not going near it for now. Right. So that is important to know. And when you come in and ask why we're not taking cards, that's the reason. Right. Yeah, I think it's important for them to know that.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so let's talk about some products. Okay. Yeah, so I want to know what kind of products, I'm a new patient. What kind of products do you guys have at Mary & Main? Let me know.
Well, typically the most well-known product or well-known option is flour. Also, as a new patient to the dispensary, understand that because we're medical, the language is a little bit different. We're not going to use words like weed and I, I don't even know some of the slang terms, but typically when when you come in, you're not going to hear marijuana. You're going to hear flower or cannabis when we're referring to the buds. So one of the most common ways of consumption is by using the raw flower, and you can do this in a couple different ways. You can roll it and smoke it. You can vaporize it by using uh, a battery where you place the flower inside of it, and it heats the flower and you can inhale it that way. It's actually a bit healthier for you because it doesn't burn so high so that you don't get all the carcinogens from smoking. And then you can also cook with your flour, where you would just steep it in oil. This is a quick version of it, but you steep it in oil and then add it to stuff that you're cooking with. Maybe making your own edibles or drinks, or even your own rubs at home. You can use the flour for that. And then we have pre-rolls, which are the flour, but it's already rolled for you. It takes the work out of it. I like pre-rolls because one, they're quick and convenient. Two, for maybe some of our patients with arthritis who don't have the dexterity, or Parkinson's, or things of that nature, who don't have the dexterity to roll on their own, this is a great option. All you have to do is pull it out of the package and smoke it. And then, of course, the other smokable option is the controversial oil cartridge vaporizer. All this is concentrated cannabis. So you can see it there. It is much more potent than the flower form because it's concentrated. So you don't need as much of it. The benefit of using a vape is you get a higher concentration of all of the terpenes and cannabinoids, which we can talk about a little later. And there is a decreased scent, so it's much more discreet. It's easier to carry around with you as needed, and it does set in a bit faster. It's also a better bang for your buck, typically, because in a half-gram cartridge, you usually get around 250 puffs. So these are a great option as well. There has been a fear. There's fear that's come from vaping because of what was going on with people buying vapes off of the street. But all of our products are lab tested and are deemed safe for usage before they even hit our shelves. So you don't have to be fearful when coming into a dispensary to use them. Now, what is good about flower and vaping? If you have chronic pain, it's good to use for quick relief. Smoking and vaporizing sets in really fast, about 5 to 10 minutes. It lasts for about 2 to 3 hours before you'll need to reuse it. But if you are having a really tough day, the best way to get quick results is by smoking or vaporizing. And then you have tinctures, and these are options that you can use to consume cannabis. They work a bit differently, and this is where patience comes into play. You have edible forms of cannabis where you've taken the raw flower and concentrated it down into an oil or a gummy or a tablet. And so one of the options is a tincture. They come typically in a dropper bottle. And so what you can do is kind of control your dosage by how much you take of it. The onset is typically between an hour to 2 hours, depending on a couple of different factors, whether you've eaten that day, your size, your metabolism. So it's it's good to be mindful of how much you're taking and when you're taking it. You don't want to take it, wait an hour, say, oh, I don't feel anything, and take more, because then you'll run the risk of having it all stack on you at once and then getting a blast of THC all at once, which can be a bit uncomfortable if you're not used to cannabis. Will it kill you? No, but it's not a fun ride. They come in a different options. You can have full THC options. Oop, there we go. Or you can have a combination of THC and CBD, and other cannabinoids like CBN. And then we have tablet forms that do the same thing. These are low dose options. So for beginners, these would be a great option to have in your purse or in your pocket to carry around as needed. They're 5 milligrams, so it's like background noise. You'll get the medicine without feeling the strong effects of it. And then we have stronger dose options. These happen to be some of my favorite edibles at the moment. Ingestibles, excuse me. We have low dose 10 milligram options or 30 milligram options. The wanna choose are great because one of the things that this company has done, it has found a way to add the terpenes back into the edibles, so you're actually getting the full effects of the plant. And you can also choose between a sativa, a hybrid, or indica, depending on what your needs are. Curio has also come out with a new product for people who have issues with sleep, which is another common ailment that we have. These are tablets that dissolve in your mouth. And the good thing about them is they're a low dose option, so you're not going to get hit heavy. But at first, the THC would kick in about an hour. And then about 3 hours later, you get a CBN dose. So not only does it get you to sleep, it helps you stay asleep through the night. If you have site pain, like muscle spasms or arthritis, and you don't really want to consume medicine, we have rubs. And these you would just clean the area you place on the site where it's needed. And then it sets in about 15 minutes, and it lasts for about 4 hours. And then, of course, there are drinkable options as well. This happens to be the Dixie Elixir, which is half and half. It's 200 milligrams of THC. These are a great option for relaxation, pain relief, and sleep. Do you drink the whole bottle? No, not recommended. But typically what you would do is start with a half of a cap full. You can add it to something you're already drinking or just take it straight. Leave it in your fridge and use as needed. And then, of course, these are some of the favorite items for our patients. Betty's Chews. They come in extra strength, which are around 50 milligrams. That's a high dose option, or 20 milligrams. And this particular one happens to be the bedtime Betty's, which has added melatonin in it to help with restful night as well. So yeah, we have a lot of different products for your usage, and we would just find the right one for you.
Yeah. That was awesome. That was awesome. I mean, I know there's just so much. So it really just depends on the individual, what they're trying to achieve, and how they want to use the cannabis, right?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that's important to note is, let's say you're a flower user. Typically, all flower is full spectrum, because what that means is you're getting all of the cannabinoids like THC, CBG, CBN, and the terpenes in it at once. So when we talked about earlier, if you find a product that works for you and then all of a sudden it disappears from the shelf, there's something that's important to note with your flower. It's a label right here. This is your cannabinoid label. I don't know if you can see it.
Get it a little closer. Oh yeah,
there
now
we go.
Let's see it.
Okay, this particular strain is strawberry. It's a good one, but as you can see, it has your THC levels, all of your cannabinoids, and then your terpenes here.
Yep.
What's important to note about this is, if you can't find the strain that you like, take a picture of this label, because when you come back to the store, if we don't have that product, we can match it up to a product that we do have in stock so that you get the same experience.
Yes.
So keep that in mind as well.
That kind of brings up, one of the myths I think that this industry has, and that is that indica means, we say indica in the couch. It's this sedative feeling. Sativa energizing, right? And we've always just associated things. We classify things like that even at the store because that's how people know it. But I know that there's a lot more to how cannabis affects your body than if it's an indica or sativa plant.
Right.
So, how do you talk through that? And, kind of what's the difference with people? I mean, that along with the THC chasing, highest THC that you can possibly find, what makes for a good strain?
Well, there's a little something called the entourage effect. And one of the most asked questions when a patient comes in is, what's the strongest thing you got? And so I can walk up to you and pull out a strain that is only 18% THC. And I'm like, this is the one. And then you can see on the shelf something that's 30%. And they're like, well, why is that not it? That has a lot to do with not just the THC, but all of the terpenes in it as well. Because the easiest way to say it is your THC is a bus. The terpenes are the drivers. And depending on the different levels of terpenes, they will direct how you're going to feel with the cannabis strain. So for instance, this Phantom Cookies is only 18%, but it has higher terpenes than this Golden Strawberry, which is at 23% THC. So it is just as effective, if not a bit more, than a strain that's high in THC, low in terpenes. The entourage effect simply means it's a combination of all of the cannabinoids and terpenes working together to address your specific needs. When you start to extract and isolate specific compounds like THC or CBD alone, you do lose some of the potency. So typically what you want to do is pay attention to the combination of terpenes and cannabinoids in there. Did that answer your question?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I think that's something new for patients, being able, reading a label like that and then tracking the terpenes and the cannabinoids that they're using. That's new.
Yeah. One of my common recommendations is when you get your medicine and you have time after you've taken a puff or two and you're kind of lounging and experiencing your medicine for the first time, Google search these terpenes, type in myrcene benefits, know what you're putting in your system, know how it's affecting you. Of course, we'll go through this at the store with you, but do your homework.
Educate yourself. Yeah, totally. We have to do that and be advocates for ourselves and all of that, especially when it comes to our health.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Well, I have like one more little myth question for you.
Gotcha.
And that is that all cannabis products get you high. Is that true?
No.
Okay. Even if it's not hemp derived, right?
Say that one more time.
It's not a hemp derived product. It still might not get you high, right?
If it is a full cannabis product, will it get you high? The answer is no. Not all products will, and that has a lot to do with the compounds that are in there. For instance, going back to the tinctures that we had up here. Ooh, there we go. Nope. There we go. So there is a big difference between this tincture, which is a full THC option, and this tincture, which is mostly CBD, very low THC.
Right.
THC does give you a psychoactive high effect.
Right.
CBD does not.
Right.
They both have very similar functions. The main difference is that THC also comes along with a psychoactive effect.
Right.
So you don't have to use a full THC product to get the desired effects. You can use some of our CBD-rich products or to address your anxiety, pain, nausea, sleep issues.
Mhm.
We have plenty of options for you that especially if you're new, you don't know what to expect, you're a little bit concerned about what a high feels like. That we have products that you can aid you without you having to worry about that.
Yeah.
Also, another recommendation is if you are going to be taking a THC product for the first time, the number one rule of thumb is go low and slow. Start with minimal dose.
Yeah.
One of the things that I have found in the medical side of cannabis is that there are people who are still treating it recreationally.
Yes.
Let's be real, it's a fun way to consume your medicine. But if you don't know what you're doing, you definitely want to start with the lowest dose. And medically speaking, you should be treating it as if it's any other medication. You don't always take the full bottle of pills that you get from the doctor's office. You start with one tablet
Right.
and use it as directed, so that you can live a functional life while using your medicine. You know, you may need pain relief while you're going through your workday. Don't smoke a whole joint. Take one puff, put it down. Let the medicine do its work and function your
Use
day.
more edible or
Yeah.
a vape pen very quickly. There's, like you said, there's multiple different ways. Get a tincture, put it in your tea or coffee or whatever you're drinking at the moment.
Yeah. And then, of course, there are other patients who have been using cannabis for a long time. And they come in and they say, well, I've used this and I'm not feeling anything. Well, that's because your body has built up a tolerance to THC. And that may mean that you need to take a bit of a break or use some CBD products to help lower your tolerance. That can happen pretty quickly over a week or two's time. And then once you reintroduce cannabis back into your system, you just start low and slow.
Same way.
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Justin, do you have anything else you want to tell the people? Anything else you want to say?
Yes, I'm excited to see you all come back into the shop. And for newbies who are not sure about if this is right for you, come and ask for a consultation. They're absolutely free. I'm here all the time. And we have a great staff that is very knowledgeable. And we want to help you live a healthy and functional lifestyle. So I can't wait to see you.
Awesome. Well, Justin, I'm so thankful for you. I hope that I tell you that enough. If I don't, I'm telling it to you in public that I'm very thankful for everything that you do for the store and for me personally. So thank you so much and enjoy your night. Thank you for staying late and doing this for me.
You're welcome. And I hope to see you in more.
Yes. You will. Okay, Justin, I'll see you later. Okay, guys, wasn't that awesome? And I hope that answered some of your questions about what it's like to come to Marion, Maine, and also what type of products we carry, and then how it can affect you and how it can help with your ailments. So definitely, I want to see you guys in. As for Justin, he's awesome, as you guys saw, super knowledgeable, as are all of our experienced agents at the store. So you're in for a treat anytime that you come into Marion, Maine. It is a real experience, and we look forward to seeing you there. But if you need to become a patient and you're confused, I want to give you a quick tutorial on how you can sign up to become a medical cannabis patient in the state of Maryland. So this is for Maryland residents only, okay, guys? So this is the website you're going to want to go to. It is mmcc.maryland.gov. So it's, if you look down, it's scrolling down at the bottom. You would type that in your browser, you go, and then this is the page. It's newly renovated website, actually. It looks brand new for those of you who have been here before. And very easily, the very first thing on this site is sign up as a patient. So you do that, you go there. This gives you all the information you need to know about it. You can read that all on your own. If you have any questions, there are numbers down here at the bottom. But then you click on, I'm ready to register. Excuse me. And then you go here to sign in. Create an account. Go here. You answer all of these questions. Here, you would submit a photo. Make sure when you take your photo, if you have an iPhone, use the Square app on your picture so that it comes out like a passport photo. You click all of these. I am ready to register. And then that begins the process. After you do this, I want you to go back to the MMCC website and check out Find a Provider. From here, it's very, very small. There's thousands of different providers on here. It's organized by zip code. You can search for a provider in your zip code. I'm sorry, this is organized by name, but the searchable one, you'd be able to search by zip code to find a provider close to you to provide the recommendation that you would need to become a patient. So if you're confused about this process, don't worry. You can come into the store. You can ask Justin. You can ask any of the other patient advisors, and they'll walk you through the process. But we're excited for you to come in, learn how to become a patient, shop with us at Marion, Maine, ask us all your questions. We're here to help. If anyone would like to ask me any questions now, I will leave a few seconds for Q&A. Okay, guys, so I will catch you guys next time. We are going to be here each and every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. You can expect to hear more from me, from our experienced agents at the store, and from other subject matter experts and popular people in the cannabis industry. We're excited to bring to you a bunch of different education, news, and just some pure entertainment related to Marion, Maine, and the cannabis industry as a whole. So like I said, we'll see you each and every Wednesday night right here, 6 p.m. And I'm looking forward to this new series, The Main Line. So see you next week, guys.